And the older we get, the better our chances of dealing with infirmities and disease. Well, right now, 5 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's, which is a lot, but by 30 years from now, it could be a staggering 16 million of us.
The impact goes far beyond the millions of people who have the disease, as it also affects their spouses, caregivers, and families day in and day out. That's why some organizations offer respite care to provide a break when caregivers need it. Lindsay Fleming is Director of Admissions and Marketing at Riverview Village in Clarksville.
Thank you so much for
Hi,
having
Lindsay.
me.
I never even thought about that. Obviously, that caregivers have to work on their own life cycle as well, and they go on vacations, or they get sick, or there's some other family issue pulls them aside.
Yeah, that's true. And we saw that 5 million Americans today are living with Alzheimer's. And going beyond the patient, in 2016, almost 15 million caregivers gave 18.2 billion hours of unpaid care to elderly loved ones with Alzheimer's and dementia.
And you said billion.
I said billion with a B. Billion with a B.
As in baseball.
And 25% of those caregivers are in that sandwich generation. So not only are they struggling to care for an elderly loved one, but they have children in the home under the age of 18. And what Riverview Village is able to offer for folks is a respite stay. Sometimes caregivers have a busy season at work. They have a planned medical surgery, a medical emergency, and what we're able to do is sort of lift the burden temporarily. Respite stays vary in length from 5 days to 5 weeks. What all respite stays do have in common is the high quality of care that we're able to offer, the dedicated staff. I work with the best team of people that are specially trained for folks with this Alzheimer's and dementia.
And clearly, it takes a special kind of person to provide care.
Absolutely. And, you know, it is, I think about the care I provide for my 2 young children, and it is the burdens of caring for an elderly loved one are exactly the same. We're all familiar with it takes a village, and a lot of times that's in reference to raising small children, but it takes a village to care for our elderly loved ones as well. And Riverview Village offers a solution in the respite stay.
What would you say, though, to a caregiver who feels maybe almost a sense of guilt to even seek respite? You know, I should be able to shoulder this all on my own. What would you say to them?
Sure, and it's just not. And again, it takes a village. There's so many aspects of care, and the caregiver, the number one thing that caregivers have to remember is that to provide good care, you must care for yourself. As parents, I think we have to remind ourselves of that, and as caregivers of elderly folks, we have to remind ourselves that as well. The caregiver must be well to provide well care to the aging elderly.
Makes sense.
And clearly the numbers that you're talking about are staggering. 1 in 3 seniors will pass away with Alzheimer's or some form of dementia, meaning they needed help in the end of their life.
Correct. And again, all levels of help are very and different. Riverview Village does provide long-term care for folks that are end of life and do need that inpatient setting. But again, the respite is just a short-term solution for a caregiver who is maybe just overwhelmed and needs a break, needs to recharge and refuel so they can bring the elderly person back into their home and continue to provide loving care.
All right, Lindsay, thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Riverview Village is at 586 Eastern Boulevard in Clarksville. The number is 812-282-6663.
And learn more about this respite care we're talking about at Riverview Village and elsewhere at ASCSeniorCare.com.